We are hoping that you've been enjoying this three-part series. Without further ado, welcome back. This is the third and final part to this three-part series. Here now is Dr. Tommy and Ellie as the CROC podcast starts right now.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That'll segue me into another question, and that's how you utilize those gifts to center you as a healer, sustain you as a healer. We spoke about this briefly the other night when we talked about the moments, the dark moments of a healer and a physician, the moments when we have self-doubt, the moments when we feel that we failed the patient, the moments that we have to acknowledge that we've actually harmed the patient, the moments that we have to recognize that we are human and we have our own needs and how to adjust ourselves and make a balance for ourselves, yet still not abandon our patients. How you take the gifts that you were given and that spiritual light that's within you, that beacon, and how that sustains you as a healer, and how you can make recommendations to other doctors, how we can maybe get a lesson in how we could survive through your methods.
That is a very profound question. Very profound, very profound. And I don't know if there is a specific formula and the reason I say that is because we're all equipped with different experiences. We're all equipped with different gifts. And so there is no equation that can lead us to an outcome that is suited for you that would work for me, and vice versa. Do you see my point? But there are certain elements, I would say, that are common to us all. And you mentioned that feeling of doubt and the darkness and being able to balance everything, especially with the demand, because we are all human, right? And so we ourselves, as I always say, we have our life challenges, which is why it is so just amazing that our patients are able to go through life with their challenges and then undergo treatment for cancer and still, they're the heroes, actually. I should just say that. If I forgot to say that, they are definitely the heroes, and they need to be told that every single day, because I think many times they're not seeing themselves. I always say, we don't see ourselves. That's why we need a mirror, right? And so we're their mirror, and we need to really need to champion that every single time we see our patients. We do, because they need to know and carry that with them, so that the next adversity they face, they know that I have something that's been given onto me from this experience, and it's not just adversity. I have literally extracted all the lessons that I need to learn. And I've also learned something about me along the way, after they sit with themselves and realize that I have this courage that I never knew I had before. And so I cannot just feel pain and leave this experience with pain, but there has to be some gain. And this has to be now channeled and applied to my next journey. This sojourn leads to another journey that I can face now, with the knowledge that I have the strength to face it. And even if there are obstacles, I have the experience knowing that I've climbed that mountain, and when I'm at the next mountain, I have some fuel, some ATP, something to say, an emotional ATP, spiritual ATP, to say something, to say, listen, I can do this because I did that, and he guided me through it all. But that's not the question you asked, but I'm sorry about that. But I just needed to say that.
No, I'm glad you did. That's a great preface. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Keep going.
Yes. So uh, the balance, because we're human beings as well. And because, Dr. E, if we do what we do the way that we should, then there is going to be an emotional toll because we're giving all, because we don't know another way. And I don't want to know another way. It's the only way. But then there is, there is the drain that happens when we give all, and I keep saying fuel because that's really what it is. The engine, needs to be oiled. So how do we do that? Well, we do that with, at least I can tell you what I do. When I'm at that point, I go to him because he's the only one who can charge me. It's charging a battery. He's the only one who I can honestly, and I do honestly, pour everything out because there's nothing he doesn't know. So it doesn't make any sense hiding it, right? I pour it all out, and I'm very honest, even about, even if there's something that's not working, and I literally say, I don't have it. I don't have the energy. Today, God, there's so many things that happened. God, and I don't know what to do. I don't even know what to pray. Right? But that is why the Bible says, but the Spirit, it groans, right? When you can't speak, it makes utterance, right? That we ourselves don't even understand. It does it on our behalf. And somehow, some way, he strengthens us. What's interesting is that we don't really think of the instance where Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? And he was sweating blood because the weight of what he had to face was so much that he said, God, if you could just let this cup pass,
Yep.
right? I mean, maybe there's another way, right? But then he said, but not my will, thy will be done.
Yep.
And the angels came. I don't know if we, because sometimes we miss this. The angels came and comforted him. The Bible clearly says that. So there is, when we come to him, the same way I encourage my patients to present themselves to him in that manner. And when I honestly speak to my patients about the intersection of the divine, right, and my life and theirs, that's the intersection where we all meet. We all meet there with him. He's the only one, right? That's when I am grounded again, because what I think the prefacing statement in my mind always is, I didn't get here on my own. I didn't ask to be here. You led me here. I'm not doing anything that you didn't ask me to do. I couldn't have, because I didn't have the capacity. None of the things that happened should have happened. I don't even know how it did. You orchestrated everything. So God, I am in the center of your will. That's the only place I want to be. So give me what I need to take the next step. Fuel me with your strength, your comfort, your power, whatever it is that I need, only you do, because sometimes we honestly don't even know what we need. You're
Oh,
at the
sure.
point where
Yeah.
you just don't even know what you need. You can't name it. There's no name for it. You're just spent,
Yeah.
right? And but knowing, as you do, Dr. E, that this is really this, you've been doing this for years, and this is something you've dedicated your life to, just giving off yourself. Just they're on your minds night and day, your patients, you're giving of yourself, you're thinking about them. You are broken when they're broken. You feel their pain. You want to heal them. You want to just neutralize their pain, neutralize their emotional torment. You want to do that, right? So you know exactly how that feels, right? And so if you are that person, that doctor who gives all, then there has to be a replenishing. And there is no language, there is no word in the Webster's Dictionary or Meridian or Oxford, there is no word to describe exactly the state of mind that you're in when you're at that point where you've given all. And only he knows exactly how to
Absolutely.
address your needs. He's the only one who knows every cell, every morsel of pain, every emotion that you can't express. And he always, as I said in the beginning, faithful, faithful. Great is his faithfulness. And that is exactly why we are still here. We're somehow you come home and you're spent and you think there's no way I have the energy to do this all again tomorrow. And yet you do. And even if you feel, even when you enter the building, you think you cannot, somehow, because it's a calling, because it's his purpose, because it's exactly where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there doing exactly what you're supposed to do, when you enter that room, you are somehow pumped with some intravenous spiritual energy.
Yes.
It's true. It really is
Oh,
true.
absolutely. And that's a great, I think that also answers our third and last question, is that now you have your training, you're graduate, you're attending, and now you're not just thinking local. You're not just thinking about your patient and their patient's needs, both medically, spiritually, emotionally, but now you're thinking about globally. You're talking
Yes.
now about how you, Sophia, Dr. EB, needs to take the gifts that have been passed on to you from your mother and given to you from God, and all the wonderful mentors and teachers and professors and Nobel Prize winning scientists that you worked with. And now you say, not only do I want to take this gift to my patient, I want to take it to the world. And I don't want to just take it to the people that have everything. I want to take it to the people who have nothing. I want to take it to the women of color who are kicked to the side and are forgotten. I want to bring it to the people who have nothing, not the people who have everything. I want to take it to the people who are despised because of the color of their skin or because of their religious beliefs or whatever it is that have marginalized them from the rest.
Yes.
And now you, Dr. EB, through these blessings, have to now look globally.
Yes.
Give us an insight as to that journey.
So, another profound question, and certainly a mission oriented for sure. And so, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I was actually given the opportunity to assist in establishing the center, the radiation oncology centers in Jamaica. Equipped with
That was
advanced
when you were with
technology.
the 21st century. Yes, I remember
Yes.
reading
Well,
that. Yes.
after. So I
Yes.
was actually right. So I was traveling every weekend, educating the physicians, etc., and sort of setting the tone as well for how we practice oncology, because I wanted to be sure that the culture was akin to my practice. Okay, and so it needs to be done initially, because if it's not actually instituted, then at the beginning, then there can be different concepts that are ingrained, different attributes that physicians believe that they should prop up, and things that are not necessarily important to them, that should not be included in the practice. And so that was one of the main goals. I actually wanted to be sure, and I accepted the position, even though it was going to be grueling for my family, being away for the project was 2 years, and this was in Jamaica, Mabay and Kingston. I traveled, but I spent many months, consecutive months in Jamaica for that reason. But it was really because I saw it. First of all, it's just a blessing that God gave me that opportunity to come full circle, right? But also because there was a dire need. I mean, patients were not being treated with advanced technology. I mean, they were being treated with 3D. There was no IMRT, and I hate it. I probably shouldn't even admit this, but there was a cobalt machine, right, in Mobay. And not only that, there was when I couldn't believe the long wait list. There was a long wait list. This is cancer now. I mean, so when I started treating patients, when I treated the first patient there were patients who were on such a long wait list that they had metastasized by I mean, which is really, it's just difficult to accept.
Oh yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, also, Jamaica would have been the hub for all cancer patients in the Caribbean. So not only are the Jamaican people waiting,
Yes.
it's people from Bonaire or from Antigua or
Yes.
wherever,
Yes.
that they would go to Jamaica to get their help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Trinidad and Tobago actually had a radonc center there, but most of the patients were actually traveling to Jamaica. So you're absolutely right about that. Because of some government political issues that I'm not really aware of, but that's the reason that I'm not really in tune with, because I usually
Yes.
don't get involved with
Yeah, no,
exactly, but
understood. Of course.
some nuances, so to speak. But that was my first opportunity to carry the message beyond the ambits of the US, right? And I think also to disseminate the practice of treating the whole patient and ensuring that there is spirituality just immersed and invoked throughout the entire patient care algorithm. In terms of extending even more globally, as I said, I was, traveling to all the different Caribbean countries, teaching other physicians how to practice. And at a certain point, there was a sole demand to then use another avenue, so to speak, to spread the word, the what I call the gospel or the ministry of medicine, right? The gospel is really good news, right? So the gospel of medicine, right? Or the ministry of medicine. And I did that with, as you mentioned, podcasts, disseminating this information, as well as the book that I wrote. I wrote that book because there was a demand on my soul, from the soul of not just my patients, but also other physicians or healthcare professionals who I think would benefit from not only knowing that there is a path that can be taken if you have this burning desire to not just practice medicine, but do more for your patients. And it was very interesting because as we've been stating throughout this entire our entire really gripping conversation, it's just amazing the way that we've been really flowing with this discussion, and your questions have been so probing and profound. But I must say, another way that God has has orchestrated the path is my introduction to you, Tom, through Talea, navigating cancer. I mean, it's so amazing. And then, of course, you introduced me to Frank Imberado, Dr. Frank. I call him Frank now, obviously. And then, of course, Mike Chop. I say this to then say a CMDA is also an avenue that I am exploring, and that I'm definitely infiltrating. That's
Beautiful. Oh yeah, no, there are no coincidences, as
yeah,
Angel would
yeah,
say. And
yeah.
God bless you, my dear friend. What a blessing you are. What a
Thank
blessing
you.
you are. Angel
Thank you.
Santana, I know you have a lot to say, and I know you've been holding your tongue, and I am very grateful for that. Please take it from here, my friend.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for being on today. Um, you know, I've heard a lot of things in this time we spent together, but three things stuck out for me. First is you remind me of a very famous quote by Martin Luther King Jr., and that is that faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase.
Mm,
I
mm,
find that your story
mm,
and what God has put into your life and what he has created with your faith, with the Holy Spirit, with the guidance and wisdom that you have been given. As we all know, we are the fruit of the Spirit, and
mhm,
we have the branches that have been made for us by our gardener himself.
mhm,
I can only say this: only faith in God and trust in him give us the strength to endure and obtain victory.
yes.
That comes right from this story. And I will
Mm,
leave you with one of my favorite verses, First Peter 4, verse 10. And it says that everyone has a gift. Everyone has been given a gift, and
mhm,
that includes you.
mhm,
As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as
mhm,
good stewards of God's varied grace. What we
mm,
heard today, everyone at Croc Nation, we have seen the humbleness, we have seen faith, we have seen grace, we have seen the work of God, and we are seeing what path he has given Dr. Sophia, the path to righteousness.
And
mm.
I'll add to that.
Thank
Also,
you.
Sophia, he has given you the courage to stand up and say things that unfortunately in this day and age are very unpopular. To
Mm,
say that you are a vessel of the Lord, to say that you would like to share your faith with the patient,
mm,
to
mm,
break down that wall
mm,
between the healer and the healed,
mm,
to be the person that you have become, to have that passion, to have that force within you, despite I can't even, we could have 50 podcasts on the adversity that you've had to overcome just to achieve what you've achieved. And I'd like to end today's series of podcasts by having a talk with our survivor thrivers. What Dr. EB represents to me is a fountain of nourishment, a fountain of refreshment, a fountain of self renewal, to make people like me who are in the trenches, in the grassroots foxholes of the cancer centers across the rural aspects of this beautiful country and throughout the world, who think that they're alone, who think that if they're trying to do something different and to try to uplift the patient and practice medicine in a godly and sacred way, that has gone out of style, and to be tired and ready to give up. It's people like Sophia, like Dr. EB, who replenish us and refresh us. And you guys, as survivor thrivers, as cancer patients, as people that have been told this news and have been bludgeoned with toxicity and have taken so much beatings and come out the other side, it's people like her that you deserve to have that level of care. That is not something that should come along once in a million. It should be every single survivor thriver have that experience of a doctor who not only looks at you as a cancer patient, not only looks at you as a person with cancer, not only looks at you as a person of how to cure your cancer, but all of the other little cancers that surround your cancer. The cancer of fear, the cancer of doubt, the cancer of despair, and the cancer of absolute fatigue, that Dr. EB not only takes the model of being a great doctor and healer, but extends it to the level that you deserve. And I will end this podcast with my usual blessing, but I also want to add a blessing and say that I hope and wish and pray that every single one of you has a doctor like Dr. Sophia EB. Ending our podcast, Angel, as we always do, wishing our cancer survivor thrivers a long, healthy, happy, and cancer-free life. Dr. Sophia, thank you. God bless you for being here. And we wish you all peace, love, and comfort. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. God bless you too. God bless you both. Thank you.